Hey guys, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a video that I've been waiting to do personally for ages now, and I've only really been able to do it this week because on Saturday I did get out to finally ride Wicker Man, and so this is going to be my review of it. Now bear in mind I did only get the one ride due to ride stoppages and incredibly long queues on that day, so this is only based off of that one ride, but I am going back this Thursday where hopefully I can get a few more rides in on Wicker Man. And so I will kind of be telling you what I think of it after a more clarified ride on it on social media. So go and follow my Instagram and Twitter, which should be, hopefully, linked in the description below. Anyway, let's just get straight into my initial kind of review of the ride, and what I'll do is I'll kind of review each part as though you're going through the ride, and I will make sure this is completely spoiler free of anything like the pre-show, so there's no spoilers here, you don't have to worry about that. So, you enter the ride through, well, you should enter the ride straight through the entrance and enter the queue line, but on Saturday we entered it up on the Haunted Hollow. That's how long the queue was. Extension queue fully open, and it was still on the Haunted Hollow. But yeah, you enter it through the main entrance, and as I said, I did go around the entire extension queue, and I mean, the queue line's good. That's brilliantly themed. It's easily the best themed queue line at the Towers. It's just the best themed coaster in general at the Towers, let's be honest. Yeah, best themed queue line at the park. But even the extension queue's good. It keeps its theme going. It barely cattle pens at all, really, throughout the entire queue. There's only really one part of the main queue that you could call a cattle pen, and that's the bit under the turn before going through the heart of the Wicker Man. Just the entire queue line's really good. All the little details. They've got signs written in the rune language of the Bjornen, and they're cool to translate, but most of them are already translated for you. And they've just got like images relating to the theme of the ride all around. But the queue line isn't just good for its theming, it's good for its views of the ride. If you've seen this week, I uploaded an off-ride video of Wicker Man, and pretty much every shot in that was taken from the queue line. I had a lot of time to film it. Yeah, every shot in there was taken from the queue line because there's just so many good places and amazing places to just stand and watch the coaster in that queue line. I mean, I wouldn't advise just standing and watching because the people in the queue behind you would get quite agitated. But the queue line does offer really good views of the coaster. And then when you have finally finished the entire queue, you enter the pre-show area. Well, you first enter the baggage hold area, which is a kind of room made of wood and just kind of the Bjornen style sort of thing. And then you enter the pre-show. I won't say any specific details about the pre-show. I just think it was really good. It was one of the best, if not the best pre-shows I've personally been in. It's up there with like the likes of Hex's pre-shows, and Hex's pre-shows are good. I mean, I would say it's probably been a bit overhyped. I was probably going in there a bit naively, probably expecting a lot more than it actually was, but for the time it's been given and how well it's been done, it's really good. Holovis have done really well on that. There's a really good bit towards the end. It gets very intense, the pre-show. I wouldn't say, well, I suppose it could be considered scary for the younger people who are just reaching 1.2 metres. I wouldn't describe it as scary, I'd describe it more as intense, and you'll know what I mean if you have done the pre-show. When you've done the pre-show, you take a short walk, literally short, you went straight into it, into the station, and you are loaded into your bays. Luckily, I got a front row ride for my first ride on it, so Thursday I'll be looking to get a back row ride at some point. But yeah, a front row ride for my first ride, and that was good. Yeah, the station though, in general, has done really well. The whole back wall is themed as though it's on fire, in a way, and there's just a dark vibe to it. The staff are all dressed brilliantly in the new Wicker Man outfits. If you've not seen them, they're really good. It's got decent audio in there. Well, decent audio? What am I on about? The Wicker Man soundtrack is absolutely incredible. yeah, I must score have done well on that. I missed that point actually in the queue line. Having queued a decent length of time, around 5 hours or something for the ride, 5 or 6 hours for it, I got to hear pretty much all of the soundtrack, and yeah, I can definitely say it's really good. It's incredible to listen to, yeah, that soundtrack. And in the station it's good as well. It's got that Scottish guy giving his announcements. It's just brilliant, essentially, the station. So, you're in the train now, you're ready, there's been no emergency ceases to the ritual, which I would actually like to point out is a tad unrealistic, don't you think? I mean, you're about to be sacrificed to the Wicker Man, and all of a sudden they're like, hold on lads, we've had to cease our ritual, you just stand there and wait for us, we'll be burning you later. It's a bit unrealistic, just going to put that out there. Anyway, enough about that. You've got on the ride, you take a turn out the station and you go into that smoky area. There's a big room I suppose, as you slalom through underneath the queue line where it enters the pre-show, and that is absolutely covered in smoke, and it's got red lights in there to make it look like fire. You can't even see a thing in there, basically just the red and the white. And yeah, that's really cool. Then you enter the lift hill. Lift hill's good, it's got speakers all the way up, the audio's good, it's got a kind of tension rising sound at the very top, and then you enter the tunnel for the first drop. You do a bit of a pre-drop, and there's lights inside that tunnel which add to the atmosphere, I suppose, rather than it just being pitch black. You can actually see in there, which is good. The first two drops, bloody hell, they're good. That second drop, especially going into that S-bend, there's a bit of airtime on it, but it's mainly just for its pace at this point. It goes through a few more corners. I'm sure you've all seen the off-ride videos, the POV, so you know the layout, but if you don't, it goes into a few more corners before going round the Wicker Man a bit. And it's just so fast at this point. It's picked up loads of speed. It's going incredibly fast. I mean, the pace to this ride is really what it does well. It's incredibly fast. It picks up its speed really quickly, and yeah, it's just amazing, and it's just really good fun as well. You're going around the turns, you got your hands up, there's nothing too intense about it, which does make it even better, I think, in terms of this kind of attraction. I mean, there is the few intense moments, but all around it's just all good fun. There's nothing too harsh, nothing too extreme. It's just enjoyable. You can just sit back and enjoy the ride whilst pacing round at what feels much faster than it actually is. And then you've got the Wicker Man interactions themselves. Each one comes with its own audio effect and fire effects, which are really good. The best audio effect is the last one you pass through, because it's got a screaming effect to it, as though someone's actually being burnt in the Wicker Man. And the best fire effect is pretty obviously the one where you go straight through the Wicker Man's heart. That's the only real one you actually get to see the fire for, but the fire does make it really cool to go through. It's really good fun, that interaction with the main Wicker Man statue. And then you've got the rest of the ride, just a few more brilliant airtime moments in it, especially that bit after you've done the unbanked corner. You've come down that drop, which is quite big to be fair, and then you've got the airtime hill before going into the final interaction. That airtime hill does actually pack quite a lot of airtime. And the whole coaster itself is just really smooth as well. There was a few moments off-ride that I thought I was a bit unsure of, because I saw some jolts from the queue line. But when you're on the coaster, you just don't feel it at all. You don't notice it. It's going so fast. It's so fun. You're having such a good time on there. You just don't notice the jolts at all. And if anything, the jolts add to the wooden coaster experience, really. Wooden coasters are the only coasters you can really get properly away with being a tad rough, because it just adds to the authentic wooden experience. Going back to its speed, maintaining its speed is another thing Wicker Man does well. A lot of the time with coasters you see, they're really good, they're fast in the first half of the ride, but then they start to peter out towards the second half of the ride and start to slow down a bit, which kind of ruins the end of the ride and just makes it feel a bit pointless. With Wicker Man, that is not the case at all. It is fast all the way until it hits that brake run. I mean, if you've seen any off-ride videos of it, you'll see it hitting that brake run with the speed it does. And if you've obviously seen it in person, you'll see it hitting the brake run with the speed it does as well. It's just fast all the way up until that last corner. It is so good. In terms of the brake run, there's a little bit of one outside, but then you head inside to an internal brake run with the maintenance room. And it's got some smoke effects in there, a few light effects. It's got the audio in there as well, which is all brilliant. There was a bit of stacking on there, which was, I suppose, something you could detract from it, but I'd much rather stack on the brake run than queue hours for it. So 3 trains stacking is something I'll put up with. And when you get back to the station, the experience still isn't over because you exit the ride and the shop, which I have already talked about in last week's preview, so I won't go into too much detail about the shop, but yeah, the shop's really good as well. Just the entire area of the ride is themed to infinity and themed really well. Overall, there's nothing really I could truly pull it up on. I've tried to have a critical look at it, and there's nothing really I could say that's wrong with it. You could say inversions, but it doesn't need inversions. Good coasters don't need inversions, and Wicker Man is proof of that. I said in my vlog where I gave my initial reaction that I was seriously debating whether it's better than Nemesis, and at the minute I'm saying yes. I mean, I'm not going to clarify anything yet. Obviously, as I said, I'm going Thursday, I'll get more rides on it then, I'll tell you what I think of it then. But at the minute, I can't find anything wrong with it. It's just so good, it's so fun. It's one of the best coasters in the UK, if not the best coaster in the UK at the minute. Towers have done a really good job of Wicker Man. Thanks for watching, guys. Tell me what you think of Wicker Man in the comments down below, and leave a like if you like this kind of video. Subscribe if you're new around here, and until next time, guys, goodbye.